Cool, you're good to go.
Oh, good, it's ready?
Yeah, that's
okay. It's Colin here, again here. I put a video on a couple of days ago, and I was supposed to be on this rape thing, video on that, but I got onto my 2 rugby records, one I got out and another one's to get out, and I put a bit on it because some people like to ask questions, as I've mentioned in my video. A couple of days ago, you mentioned, say, you've got a couple of rugby records, and they'd like to know what were these rugby records, and I like to sort of consolidate my position and things. So I went on to explain about my first rugby record, and my next one, which I might get out. Our COVID-19 was the captain and such like. And I mentioned how, in my last video, how actually the All Blacks don't know how to play rugby, which they don't. Listen to my videos and find out. Now, we'll carry on a bit on that vein at the moment. Got 35 minutes, and I don't want to get onto this rape thing at the moment because I've already covered that, but I got to sort of have a balance between not saying too much of the one thing, but not saying too little. For example, I've been back on my book, Let's Get Well by Dale Davis, and Let's Eat Right to Keep Fit, 2 tremendous books on orthomolecular medicine. And as I've been going back on them, I've been finding things that I wasn't aware of, and I've read the book and that, and sort of almost like a new book, and I need to read it again, but it's puckarooed now, this one. I've used it so much it's just come to pieces. I can still read it, but I might order another one. But my other books, Let's Eat Right to Keep Fit, they're more together, because I haven't used that book so much. And so I was reading, and I came across glaucomia, and that's what I've got. And my eye specialist said that it's incurable, but I see that Dale Davis that it's not. And she take a formula and has salty foods and that, and so on. So when you go back on things, you can consolidate. One time, as I say, I went back on something, and I saw I had it underlined, and I said to myself, I had that underlined. And at the time, years later now, I wasn't aware of it. So it's good to consolidate, keep consolidating, but sort of be careful. Like if I put, say, a video on, and the very next video, I put on about 85% of what I'd put on my previous video, then that's too far the other way. A newcomer would just put me off altogether, put off me and might not bother with me anymore. But if over a period of 46 videos, I put all that on, was on my first video to my first video, but just in stages over the 46 videos, just bits, 1 or 2 bits here and there. It's altogether different doing it that way. Then on the very next video, you repeat 85%. So it's too far one way, and so, but on the other hand, you go too far the other way, and that you don't consolidate anything. So we'll carry on then with this rugby one at the time, because when I put on the so-called rape thing, I want to be on that particular theme. I haven't quite finished on this one. Now, what I didn't mention in my last game a couple of days ago, my last recording, was I didn't mention again the fallacy of the All Blacks barging into players. That's a caveman kind of approach to rugby. If, say, the All Blacks, say for example, they went to a back block area in Brazil, they were still in the old stage of existence, and so on, and where one tribe was walked naked still around the world, which is good. That's what we got to get back to, but that's another story. Now, so we got one, say, a caveman, and we were friendly with him, and we offered him bananas and things to show that we're friendly, and we got working with him, and we gave him sign language, and he got to know, we taught him English, and he came to New Zealand, and then say you got him in the All Blacks, a great player, and then he barged into players like what the All Blacks do, trying to set up the secondary phase. And well, you'd expect that, you see, from a caveman, but not from so-called intelligent people called the All Blacks. Or, you see, that style of play where they barge into players, so you can cause injury to do that, is came from the South Island one year when a team came from the South Island to the North Island with this barging kind of All Black play, this barging kind of play, you see. And so the North Island noticed this kind of play, if you can call it play, and that became eventually the accepted standard of play, this barging kind of play. It might have just started by one player in the South Island, so that the coach was watching them play, was getting them to go through the mill, and they were practicing. And then, say, one player, he noticed, tried to barge through other players. He was a strong man, and he ran up and tried to barge through players. And the coach might have noticed that and said, yeah, that's the old bloody dear. Push it through in the forwards. And then that slowly became, so the adopted style from that team, say, and then they took it to the North Island, and then they got that. But you see, that's not rugby at all. Well, I'll give you another example. In reality, we get mixed up with reality and fantasy, but sometimes fantasy can be changed into a reality, actually. So anyway, we get back now to what I say, this game in South Africa. I was watching TV, so this is in reality now. It was a test match, of course, between the All Blacks and the Springboks. And as I say, I think it was in South Africa. So I was watching this TV game, and what happened was a Springbok ran towards the line to score, but he was set upon by the All Blacks. Now, instead of trying to manoeuvre the ball and trying to score, or some trying to push around with these All Blacks and trying to score, he just did a simple thing which should be done in rugby, is that he gave a long pass inside, quite a long pass, and a Springbok just got it, and he gave a sort of a wobbly kind of a run. It wasn't quite a run, it was sort of more like a fast walk, or it was faster than that. It was sort of a wobbly kind of run. The All Blacks left the door open because they're not used to that happening. They're used to their own style of play, and so they didn't think about leaving the door closed. And so they all pounced on this player, and all he did was he started to play what should be played 50-man rugby. He just passed a quick, quite a long pass inwards, and the Springbok got it. And just as I say, I watched him score. He sort of ran a sort of a wobbly kind of a run, so if you can call it wobbly. It wasn't quite a beeline straight run for the. So he sort of gave that wobbly kind of run. The door was left open, and he scored. And so that was in a test match, of course. And so you see, that Springbok had the answer to pass the ball out. So, as I mentioned in my last video, how the All Blacks don't know how to play rugby because, as I say, they don't understand the rudiments of the game, and because they think that possession of the ball is paramount, and that, as I explained in my last video, how that when I was on the railways, the first and most important duty of every member of the service is to provide for the safety of the public. And the most important duty of every member of a rugby side is possession of that ball. And so the All Blacks think, oh, well, we're jammed. What else can we do but kick for touch or kick down the street, kick down the field or something, or maybe perhaps an up and under. But no, they don't understand. The second thing about it is they don't understand the necessity to be prepared to lose ground to gain ground. So anyway, having that in mind then, as I mentioned in the last video, now that they know how to play rugby, we're sort of advancing here to sort of a fantasy, but in a sense it can be changed into reality because we're looking at COVID-19 teaching the All Blacks how to play. So they got now rid of this barging play now, you see, and the All Blacks do. And they're passing the ball out all the time. And if they can't, they keep going back even to their own 22. Get very quickly from your own 22 into the opposing 22 if you've got room to move. So in other words, the All Blacks just don't understand the necessity to be prepared to lose ground to gain ground. So I don't want to keep repeating myself on that because I mentioned that in the last video. As I say, I don't want to be careful about repeating too much from one video to the next. So anyway, so that was one thing they didn't know. Now, that barging play that's got to be done, it's got to be fixed up. And then another thing I was thinking about was it should be perhaps an offence in rugby to kick the ball out of touch on the full, or kick it out of touch at any time on purpose. Could be a penalty for that. You've got to keep the ball in play. You're not allowed to kick it out of play. They don't do that in any other sport that I know of. You take, say, tennis. They play tennis, and they don't just suddenly just turn around and just hit the ball out to their side out of play, you know, and then they've got to have some kind of scrum or something to get the play moving again. They hit the ball to the opponent, you know, and they never do that. The same even in soccer. I don't know anything about soccer, but I don't think they're inclined to kick the ball out of play in soccer either. I think they might do, but they seem to kick to each other somehow. I don't seem to kick it out of play. So you see, it's a boring kind of sport when they kick it out in the touch on the full. Well, not on the full or otherwise, they kick it in the touch. And so I'm wondering if that should be a change in the laws there. And so anyway, play now sees up and down field, and as I mentioned, crowd are just so amazing. They're not just cheering now. The girls are screaming when they see the All Blacks play, and now they know how to play rugby, taught to us by COVID-19. Great player. There's another thing I forgot to mention about COVID-19 in one of my games is the fact that he what did he do? He treated with the spectators with a full treatment. That's right. That's what COVID-19 did. He gave the full treatment to the spectators. That's why they were wild and went crazy about him, and all the girls want to fuck him because he what did he do? What did he do? Just hang on a minute. He didn't. I just said it. And see if I can grab it again. He gave us the full treatment. That's right. That's what he did. So now that's what the All Blacks are doing. So now, if they did, we're sort of moving into a fantasy now, that the All Blacks now are turning the game into what did I just say again? I think it's not very good at the moment. The full treatment, yeah. So what's happening is now the All Blacks now are giving the players the full treatment now, just like we're taught by COVID-19, teach them how to play. So now the All Blacks are undefeatable, as I say in my last video, and so they're trying to get a 20 test series going. They've discussed the matter with the New Zealand Rugby Union, and they're trying to work out what to do. Now, what else we got here? Now, you mentioned barging a penalty kick. That's what Spring Ruts are scared about that player. So anyway, so just for a sort of fantasy thing we're looking at here is now that we got orthomolecule medicine to wipe out this virus, which I've been putting on my videos, I'm trying to get that one in, but I haven't had any success from getting any replies. But I want to see again the Right Honourable Grant Robinson, because he's as you know, he's the Minister of Finance, but he's very good in listening to people. He'll take an interview with people, and he's the only politician I think I know that invites people to do that. So I've already seen him about COVID-19 and orthomolecular medicine. So he's quite interested, but he said to see Chris about it, Chris Hipkins, and that's when I haven't got any reply. Like, I didn't want to reply to my letter because I haven't got the time to reply to letters, but I wanted to have an interview with him about this, because I have an appointment to see him about orthomolecular medicine. And so I've got that on my video. So Baby Jace, she's sort of changed her policy now, that up to a point, because she says, because they say to her, look, Baby Jace, fuck me dead, baby, you're against this cunt, this nasty cunt, and now you're wanting the cunt here in a way. I mean, what's all this bloody about again? And so Baby Jace says, well, look, fuck me dead, it's like this, you see. We got orthomolecular medicine here now. You see, all the girls want to fuck this cunt, this COVID-19. You see, and I myself, I want to fuck him too. I'm a female. I'm a male. I'm a female, and so you say, what? You want to fuck this cunt? Yeah, because he's a great player. COVID-19, a great player. And look at what he's done to the All Blacks. They want to fuck the All Blacks now too, because they're giving us the full treatment as well. And so this is a sort of a fantasy thing, but at the moment. But it is a fact that orthomolecular medicine can wipe out all viruses and infections, including this Delta thing that'll come in OSA, not OSA, RSV, is it? Yeah. And so we're looking at sort of in this kind of vein at the moment here. I wanted to continue with it. And I wanted to go further here and say now that normally when these 20 tests are getting played in New Zealand, normally they would be the most expensive games ever to get in the history of rugby. I think the previous highest was in the last World Cup, I think, when World Rugby Cup, when Springboks played another team. I'd forgotten, it might even been Japan. They were doing well. But the Springboks played another team to see who would win the World Rugby Cup. And the Springboks won it, I think. And this was, 2 or 3 years ago, was it? When they had a World Rugby Cup. So we're in reality now. What happened was, that's right, to get into that game, that last game between who's going to take the World Rugby Cup, I think it was 10,000 smackers, I think, to get into that game. But now these games, these test matches in New Zealand, there's 20 ones to try and crack this undefeatable side, the All Blacks, chained by COVID-19. And they got a World 11, a World 15 rather, out to try and crack them. And so they've been constantly in touch with the New Zealand Rugby Union about it. So anyway, so it's the most expensive game. But the Honourable Grant Robinson, a very, very kind man, he has stepped into the picture, and he's got the Treasury to print the money, and just people can just pay what they can afford to get into these 20 test matches. And so we're looking now about the money that's come in now is to build, what shall I say, as I've touched on in my previous videos, is to build high-rise water tanks for our farmers, instead of trying to cart water there, because streams don't work. If it's going to be a drought, there won't be much water in the streams. So a better idea would be to have these high-rise water tanks, about 6 to 8 of them, about 600, 800 feet in the air, as I mentioned on my videos before about this, and they've got sheets of corrugated iron that come down come down, and as the rain hits the corrugated iron, it pours into the reservoirs. And they had about 6 of them, not one big huge one, because if something happens to the water tank, say a hole comes in or something and the water comes out, it's too much. I mean, you just got the one. You put all your eggs into one basket. So what you've got to do is you've got to have, say, 6 or 8 smaller ones to make up for one big, huge one. And so they've got plenty of water. There's also a churning motion at the bottom to keep the water fresh, keep it churning, keep it freshy, and also to stop mildew and moss from developing, and also to stop mosquitoes from breeding or anything else. And so then there's also what shall I say, a tight lid to go on the tops of the reservoirs, because in case they get too full, that they don't want mud around the place, so they put tight ones on to stop overflowing to get mud, because you still get mud if you've got heavy rain, but you don't want an added situation where you've got more mud. So this is why apparently they have paddocks, is because the cows can't get into that paddock. So therefore, if it's high water, then if they could get in there, so if they made the whole field, the whole of their farm is just one farm without paddocks, then what would happen is the cows would tread into the whole thing and would turn the whole of their farm into a bog, B-O-G, yeah, they'd turn into a bog. But if they've got them fenced off, then they can't do that, so they can feed them hay or so in the meantime. And then when the grass grows from where the cows couldn't get into to tread, then they can go back and feed off them. But also another thing too, the Right Honourable Grant Robinson could get the Treasury to pay people to make hay, give them a good price for their hay, and they give it to the farmers for free during the winter time. And so they got a good sprinkler system, and so during drought times, people go past in their cars and see lovely green grass, and they say, "How can all this lovely green grass here? It's supposed to be a drought on. Where did all this lovely green grass come from?" It came, of course, from these high-rise tanks that they're building, and so the idea is what the Honourable Grant Robinson has got in mind, a very kind man. He's got in mind that we can make New Zealand strong, and the idea what the Honourable Grant Robinson's got in mind is that we can do our part to help the world by giving them fresh, clean drinking water. So the money we get from the increase of our milk supply and that can go to help the needy overseas, and so they get fresh drinking water. That's what happened with a couple actually in real life here. There was a couple in Hastings a few years ago. They won a lotto of 18 million, and they gave them money for water pumps for Africa, so they can get clean drinking water. So that was a good thing. What would they have done with all the money? I don't think lotto. I don't know anything about lotto because I don't bet on anything at all. Excuse me. And anyway, what happened was I don't think it's all money. I think some of it's prize money. But if you're selling prize money on what do they call it? You sell on I've forgotten just offhand where you sell it. Anyway, you know where they can sell it on this thing. So if they put it brand new, still in the cellophane, won at lotto, well then people will buy it. Whereas if you're selling a fridge on this area where you sell it from, the first thing they ask you is how old is it? How old is the fridge? That's what I've found from experience in selling 1 or 2 fridges in the past. They want to know, but if you say it's brand new, and so they can sell them anyway, it's from lotto, it's still not used, and then so that could give them more money to pay. So anyway, they gave them money to water pumps for Africa. So that could be the move, the goal of Right Honourable Grant Robinson is to get the money, get us a strong country, and then give the proceeds to our benefits, the income extra, to start to give it to the world so that the rest of the world can have, that's the aim of New Zealand, they can have fresh, clean drinking water, not drink dirty water. Like one ad in real life I saw on TV, this woman walked forward to the viewers, and there were some Africans a good step behind her. And she said to the viewers, she showed them this dirty water, and she said to them, "Would you drink this water?" And I don't know how many people responded to it, but I would have gladly responded to it, but I was totally, completely full with another worker I was supporting. And I sort of feel to leave that to the world, that one about the drinking water. But you see, some places are still drinking dirty water, and in other places they don't know about hygiene, and they drink water from people that they urinate in ponds and things where they urinate in, and of course they get cholera and that. So that could be the aim, say, of New Zealand, and Baby Jace, she's responded with that too. And so my time's just about up here, 29 minutes. Time flies here. So I wouldn't have had any time for this rape thing. Anyway, where are we now? So COVID-19, a great player, and he's trained up the All Blacks, and so we're looking at this, yeah. And so that's right. So they're looking for where they're going to play these 20 tests and that in New Zealand. Oh, and another thing too, Baby Jace, she's pleading with the people on a message to the nation, pleading with the people, please, if you live in New Zealand and you're going to travel around New Zealand, please don't move into a motel or a hotel, because we desperately need them for tourists. When there's so many tourists coming, see, orthomolecular medicine is wiped out by this time. It's wiped out viruses. So anybody that gets it can be wiped out in less than a day by orthomolecular medicine, as on my videos. But I've yet to sort this problem out too, as I say, with Chris Hipkins, and I've got to have another interview with the Right Honourable Grant Robinson. So anyway, so where are we now? So I've lost my thread, as I can lose my thread easy. So we're going to have that's right, it's a Baby Jace. That's right, she's pleading with the people, please, if you've got a room, any room, we'll pay you 100 smackers a night for it. Please, if you could just, because billets, she's pleading for billets as well, because there's so many people going to come watch these 20 big tests in New Zealand, and they'll bring income into New Zealand too, and then we can have more to do what, say, the Right Honourable Grant Robinson and Baby Jace, they're working on what shall I say, to get fresh drinking water throughout the whole world. That's the goal, say, of New Zealand, to do their part in the third world, so-called. All my time's just about up here, 20, 30, 20, it's still 28 minutes. A bit of time, it's still on the 20 here, so I've got 35 minutes. So anyway, what happens is that when Baby Jace, she breaks down sobbing, because she's just so desperate to try and get billets. She'll say, look, don't worry about a bed, we'll buy beds, we go to a nearest bed shop and buy beds, don't worry about if you haven't got a bed, don't worry about anything there, we'll supply it. All we want is your room, we've got to spare, please help us. With so many tourists who will be coming to watch these games, please help us. And she breaks down sobbing, and then when she does that, it becomes one of the most electric speeches ever by a New Zealand Prime Minister, apart, say, from wartime. But this is wartime, actually, like with the third world dying of these diseases and things. We're not doing anything like enough for the third world. It could easily be done, but I haven't got time to go into that because I've just got a few minutes left here. Just a few minutes left here. So anyway, as things move on, as these tests come and that, and the Labor government becomes so popular that at the present time we're looking at about the 5th of August 21 at the moment. the Labor popularity have gone down by about, I think, 9.5%. But now, when these things get moving with these great tests coming and that, the property of the popularity of Labor just shoots up immediately, and well, not immediately, and so now they're sitting on about 74%, the Labor Party, with Baby Jace, they're so popular now with these test matches and everything, and trained up by COVID-19, and a great play by the All Blacks, and they're just amazing players now. They're passing the ball up and down the field, and people just gasping for breath and screaming. There's not cheering, they're just screaming, a lot of these girls. And so the popularity, as I say, of Labor has gone up to, say, 74.2%. It's rising, and they're so happy with the Labor government. And so just about my time's up here now. Is it 34 minutes? 37 minutes? I'm not sure. I better close now. Quite sure this time it's 30 something minutes here. So I better close. So you can see I didn't have time for anything else. So I'll close this video then. Hopefully 30 or 35. I think I've gone over, but I think I'll make it. So I must close this video then, and I'll catch up with you on another video sometime. And to keep listening to my videos and try and share them with others, so we can get New Zealand a great nation, the greatest nation this world has ever known in reality, and we can pass it on to the world. I know it's a big job for poor little New Zealand to have to save the world, but the United States has not responded with orthomolecular medicine, which they have had. I haven't read anything or heard anything about orthomolecular medicine in relation to COVID-19 or this new one, Delta, is it? So anyway, I must close in, otherwise they might not let this go through. So I'll close it now, and I'll put on another video. So this is Colin then signing off for now. So bye for now.